Welcome to the Four Bells. We are doing workout from home number 68 today, where this is the end of week 2 of our arms and abs cycle, and today is very much about squatting patterns and using the front of the body and the front of the legs when working in our squats. We are going to warm up with 3 things to get us ready for our squat focused day today. We are going to do Coach Ben's favourite warm-up movement, apparently. Could be, I'm not sure. I'll ask him in a second. Down dog toe taps. We get to warm up the posterior chain and work at some thoracic rotation at the same time. From there, we're going to get into some glute bridges where we are looking to get the posterior chain, the hamstrings and the glutes warmed up. Those muscles at the back of us help stabilize the front of us, so we're going to get those ready. And then from there, warming up the quads, the knees, the ankles and the hips, we're going to do some walking lunges. So we're going to do these 3 things 3 times in the warm-up today. Let's take a little bit of time talking about how they should look.
To start the warm-up, we're going to do some down dog toe taps. You're going to set up on all fours, making sure your wrists, elbows, and shoulders are all stacked. From here, I dig my toes in. I'm going to send my hips up, nose to toes. I'm going to reach across. We're going to do a 1-second pause, get some length through the hamstring. Reach across, get some thoracic rotation the upper back. Now we're going to do this 10 times, 5 on each side, drive the heel down. From here we're going to go into 5 and 5 glute bridges, warming up the hamstrings and glutes. To start, I'm going to get one leg pressed to the floor close to my glutes. You can play with your foot position here, whatever allows you to get some quality engagement in the hamstring and the glute. The other foot is going to go up straight into the sky, and from here, drive it up, squeeze the glute, and back down. 5 reps, reaching that foot up towards the ceiling. Once you've done 5, you switch sides. From there, we're going to go into a walking lunge. I'm going to go this way, making sure we're on train tracks, not that tightrope position, keeping the chest up. As I go, I step forward, keeping that shin angle nice and straight. I'm not traveling forward with my whole body as I lunge, collapsing down. I stay in control of my movement. 5 on each leg. If you have a small space, you might just do forward, push back. Whatever works for you there. Once you finish the 10 reps, we're then going to repeat that. We're going to do those 3 things 3 times.
For leg day in our strength piece today, we have legs 3 ways. We have a little bit of a primer in the form of some split squats. Can we get into deep positions of knee flexion, which we're going to look at today. From there, we're going to get into some kind of front squat, depending on what you have available to you at home. And from there, a little bit of posterior chain work and a little bit of balance and stability work in the form of a single leg deadlift. We are going to do 5 sets, where each set is going to be 4.5 minutes long, split into 3 90-second windows of time. So in our first 90 seconds, we're going to be doing split squats today. So not Bulgarian split squats like we did a couple of days ago, just a regular split squat on the floor, where the focus today is not necessarily adding weight or getting heavier. This is meant to be as a primer for our front squats. What is the deepest, darkest position we can get into with our ankles, with our knees, and how much can we open our hips? So we're going to look at split squats and how they should be done. And we're going to be doing 8 on one side and then 8 on the other. From there into our next 90 seconds, we're going to do some kind of front squat. Is it a goblet squat? Is it a barbell front squat? Are you holding onto a sandbag, small child, bag of concrete? Whatever it happens to be, we're going to be doing 10 reps for our front squats today. And if we can, ideally getting a little bit heavier as those sets go on. Last but not least, in each set, we're going to be doing some single leg deadlifts, 5 per leg. Ideally, trying to start with the leg that is either weaker or less stable first, and then doing our second side stronger. And if you find, if you can do single leg deadlifts at body weight, then we should be adding some weight to them. Let's talk about how all of those guys should look. The first exercise in our strength piece today is split squats. And as I mentioned, they're not meant to be done as like, we're going to put a ton of weight on this situation, we're trying to build strength. We're using the split squat as an activation. So what we're really trying to emphasize here is ankle dorsiflexion, our ability for our shin to track forward in our squat, which in turn means we can express a better torso position when we squat, but also knee flexion, how much contact can I get between hamstring and calf, and also what is my hip extension like, how vertical can I keep my torso position. So the main reason we're trying to do this is a primer for mobility, which means can we control the ranges of motion we're going to get in. So a split squat is not a lunge. A lunge implies I am lunging, I'm moving in a direction. With a split squat, we have a fixed stance. So I have my feet in a fairly wide base. Keeping my torso upright, I'm going to allow my shin to track forwards. And as I said, I'm trying to get as much contact between hamstring and calf whilst keeping the heel on the floor. If I'm coming onto the toe, this is no bueno. Keep the heel down. We're trying to get into a deep position for the ankle and for the knee. From here, I just push back up to my start position, drive the shin forward, get nice and low, touch that back knee down, and I'm going to perform 8 reps on one side, 8 reps on the other. If this is super easy for you, you can maybe add some dumbbells to the side, or a light dumbbell or kettlebell to the chest, but that's what we're doing for our split squat. It's a primer for what's coming next, front squats.
Looking at front squats, if you are blessed with a squat rack and a barbell, don't face the way I'm facing. Turn around, face this way. But you have a couple options. We can go with the regular Olympic front rack style here, getting those elbows up. We can look at the Arnold style, where we cross the arms across the shoulders. Either way, what we're trying to do is keep a nice vertical torso. That way it's trying to pull us forward. We want to make sure as we squat into our deepest position in our squat, we keep that chest up and we keep driving the elbows up. So with a bar, I'm going to send my elbows up, and as I get into my squat, feet shoulder width apart, I'm going to take a deep breath in, eyes forward. I push the hips back and down, driving the elbows up towards the ceiling, and then the hips come through. If I don't have a bar, that's completely fine. We use what we are blessed with, perhaps a kettlebell, perhaps a dumbbell, perhaps a sandbag, whatever you may have. Alright? If I have a kettlebell and you want to add some challenge to the shoulder, we can go with that offset position. If you have 2, let's go double front rack. Otherwise, right, I'm going to go here. I'm going to start by showing a goblet front squat. Okay, a little bit easier on the shoulder, still pulling you forward. So squeeze the shoulder blades together. I sit back into that squat, keeping that torso nice and vertical. Offset squat, the battle here is to, and put it in my right hand, is to make sure that your shoulders stay nice and even. Okay, this weight's going to try to pull you to the side and twist you forward. Nice line with the hips, nice line with the shoulders, all the way down, all the way up. You'll just do half on one side, half on the other, which will then lead to our next movement, which is single leg deadlifts.
For the single leg deadlift, we are looking to work on the posterior chain, look at hinging mechanics, and look at balance and stability while we stand on one leg. So the single leg deadlift, very similar to the Romanian deadlift setup, which means I'm going to have my hips nice and stable, I'm going to push those hips back, load the hamstring, load the glute, and bring that torso parallel to the floor. But of course, we're doing it on one leg, hence the title single leg deadlift, which means that I'm going to stand on one leg, the other non-working leg leads back as I push the hip back, load the hamstring, load the glute, bring my torso parallel, and then drive the hip forward, squeezing the glute as I stand. If you can do that at body weight, and it's not an issue for you, balance is not an issue, you're not falling over, you can add some weight to it. So, depending on what you have available, it really kind of depends. You can do it with a barbell. I find with a barbell, when things get crazy, people start to kind of pivot around a little bit with a barbell, so try to avoid that. I personally prefer 2 dumbbells or 2 kettlebells, keeps my shoulders nice and square. But of course, if you only have one weight available, I'd probably recommend, if I'm standing on my right leg, holding the weight in the opposite hand for a little bit more of a challenge transversely or diagonally through the core, and making sure I keep the spine neutral. Just because I add weight, I'm not reaching for the floor, rounding the back, and keeping the spine nice and neutral as I perform my single leg deadlifts. So we're going to do 5 on our least stable side, and 5 on our most stable side, and if we can, getting a little bit heavier as we go across our 5 sets in the strength piece today. For our conditioning piece today, we have a rather unassuming 12-minute AMRAP, which can get a little bit spicy as it goes on. To put it simply, we have a little leg complex followed with a variation on the sit-up that we do at the gym a lot called the shin grabber. So with our little leg complex, what we're going to do is I'm going to do a reverse lunge on one leg, reverse lunge on the other leg, and then a jumping squat. Reverse lunge, jumping squat. We're going to do that complex 5 times when we start each round. From there, I'm going to lay down on the floor, so nice, and I'm going to do 15 shin grabbers. As soon as my shin grabbers are done, back to that leg complex. Lunge, jumping squat. So, that's what we're just going to go through, a very simple couplet, that little complex, those shin grabber sit-ups. Let's talk about how they should look across our 12-minute AMRAP.
For the conditioning piece, we have a 12-minute beautiful AMRAP. We're going to do a reverse lunge on the left, a reverse lunge on the right, and then a squat jump. That is 1 rep. You're going to do that 5 times, and then you're going to get into 15 shin grabbers, which is a patented 4 bells power sit-up. I don't know if it's patented. Don't quote me. So, to start, I'm going reverse lunge on the left, keep my torso upright. Then on the right, I squat, jump, control the landing. I then go left, right, and squat, jump. Notice I'm squat jumping. I'm not doing this. Woo! Okay? I want to get that full squat and then control the landing, toe to heel, keeping the chest up. Once I finish 5 rounds of those movements, I then go down to the mat for the shin grabber sit-ups. To start, my feet are out wide. I'm going to reach back, and with power, I sit up. I'm going to grab my shins. If you live above someone, they better hear you for all 15 reps. If there are people above you, they better hear you for all 15 reps. None of this. Powerful. Grab onto your shins. That implies the name. Once you finish your 15 reps, you get back into the reverse lunge, squatty jump. You do that for 12 minutes. It's going to be beautiful.